Happy Friday. Welcome to yet another episode of Founders Friday. Excited to be back again with this episode. All right, so today we're going to talk a little bit about the big picture, the strategy. We are afraid of strategy, but we also love strategy. We don't always get enough time to do it. So maybe the first question to start with is, how do we do strategy? How do the two of us work on strategy, but also with the board?
Yeah, great question. We like to do what we call the retreat. We call it the Founders Retreat. We actually look back at the impact that we've had. We have our reflective processes, rose, thorn, bow, what worked, what didn't, what's our biggest bottleneck, for example. We kind of first go through I think the unpacking process of where we are and what has gone well and wrong. Not so well, I wouldn't say wrong. I think everything has something to teach us. Then we kind of sit down to think about a number of how many people do we want to reach, right? I think there's a process that we've been following. We've been inspired by the Mulagos methodology, the framework of thinking about scale. So we start asking ourselves the question of are we doing this thing good enough? Our current model, is it simple enough? Is it quote unquote cheap enough for us to be able to replicate that? And I believe there's a fourth one that I'm completely blanking on right now.
Big enough.
Big enough, yeah. Is the idea big enough for us to actually think about the next steps, or is it something that's already been met? And maybe we should actually move on. And I think it's a real talk that we need to have. And through that all, I think we kind of then pull threads, a common thread that we see of okay, this works, this needs to go. And I think that's where we engage with one another a lot more. And I meant literally the team sits together. We've done that earlier this year in February with our leadership team. Once that's done, we present it to the board. The board reviews it, and we then also host what we call the media or founder town hall, where we actually invite partners in our network to come and give us feedback on what they think, and we continue refining it. So we've done that, I think, for the last 3 years or so. I think there are refined versions that we've been working on, and right now we are looking at our plan for 2040.
Yeah. And speaking of plan for 2040, so this was a process that started for us, essentially last year. We've kind of been spending, we usually do it around this time of the year in the summer, so it kind of gives us that perspective on what's already working and what we're looking forward to. So the big question we typically ask in that strategy, and we'll share the full document below afterwards, but the big question we ask is, what's our audacious goal? So for folks watching, Sunghee, can you give us an insight into what's that big audacious goal?
Yeah. What are we if we're not big dreamers? Voyage is made up of people who are big dreamers. So our audacious goal for 2040 is to work with 100,000 smallholder women coffee producers around the world and support them with our program. Mm-hmm.
And so the immediate question that comes up to us when we talk about that number is, how are you going to get to that audacious goal? I think maybe once a week someone will ask us that question in a meeting. So we've broken it down, and Sunghee, can you help us kind of break it down into the way that we're going to get to that goal?
Right. So the goal is to get 100,000 farmers market ready. So I think I have to be more specific there. 100,000 smallholder women coffee farmers and get them to the market has been kind of our refined mission and goal for the next 15 years or so. And our methodology to get there is broken down into 3 pillars. The first one is deliver. This is direct to farmer services that Voyage has been providing over the last 10 years, where we provide a bundle, market focused bundle of services directly to smallholder women coffee producers through our own trainers, our own staff, and so forth. And we know that obviously we can't do it all alone, but we still want to be doing what we have been doing over the last few years, because we know the impact can go deep. We will be reaching about 2% of the audacious goal through the direct delivery. So this is the first pillar. Voyage keeps doing what we are doing with our program. The second and third pillars are a little bit newer to our team as well as to the community. But the second pillar is catalyze. We believe that there are a lot of incredible coffee companies with values aligned to ours, and mission quite similar to ours, and we really want to leverage and collaborate a lot more actively with them. And we saw an opportunity there to be able to catalyze other actors in the coffee industry. So catalyze is the second pillar where we are going to be, and we are already, in fact, supporting and catalyzing other coffee companies, whether they're exporters or importers or NGOs in the coffee space, to be able to replicate the model that Voyage has within their supply chain. So that involves training of trainer model, where we are training their staff to be able to implement participatory, gender inclusive training and working methodology that Voyage has been developing, like we've been developing and refining over the last 10 years. So currently we are partnering with an exporter in Colombia to support them with this methodology, and our goal is to really grow this and reach a lot more people through this network. We estimate about 5 to 10% of the audacious goal can be reached through there, where our staff trains another company to be more gender inclusive. The last bit, the last pillar is influence. So this is where the advocacy work comes in. This is where the norm shift and policy shift will be doing a lot of the work. And our job at Voyage will be really supporting key actors at a policy level, as well as other industry actors to really unlock untapped ways to really reach more women and smallholder farmers in the overall coffee industry. So one way that we are currently doing is through Women Power Coffee Summit, where we invite researchers and policymakers as well as other coffee actors who we are not directly training, but they're in the space to really be influenced through the stories being shared, experiences, and suggestions, and in fact brought to the table and to the main stage by the coffee farming communities to really make our industry more equitable, just, and resilient, right? And then we also see ourselves going a little bit more into being a supporter, an actor, and maybe a key stakeholder in passing a gender policy. So we've done that in Costa Rica in 2019, where we supported another commission for gender, that was researching into gender policy. I mean, ICAFE in fact passed that, and we saw the impact that it had and the potential a policy can have in making gender inclusivity and equity a priority for an industry in a country. And we see that as like an opportunity for us to really get more involved in, and something that we're still working on. Obviously, we still have 15 more years to figure out, but we are hoping that in the next few years we'll be able to kind of like have a clear, it's going to start with like mapping out opportunities in the advocacy spaces, as well as really devising ways to measure our impact, because it's also not our intention to attribute everything that happens in the coffee industry as ours, right? That's definitely not where we're going to be going. So that's where our headspace is right now. And we're very excited to have this 3 clear pillars and the team behind it to really drive the work and get to the 100,000 goal that we've set for ourselves.
Yeah. Super. And it's quite exciting and, maybe slightly scary, but that's part of the process of actually building something. Is you kind of build and then you learn a little bit more, you get a bit scared and then you build more, and that kind of continues. So we're really looking forward to that. On a more personal note, Sunghee, what is one particular aspect, or what is one particular pillar that you're excited for us to learn more about? You mentioned the attribution for the summit. Maybe we're trying to learn more about that. But of the 3 pillars, is there one particular experiment or thesis that we're testing that you're most excited about personally?
Oh, that's a great question. Honestly, obviously, I'm very excited about everything because I think it has its own strength and its own challenges of deliver is something that we've done over the last 10 years and we are refining, and I think we're excited to continue making it better. I think that's one thing that I love about our team, is that we know it works and we're not going to stop there. We are every year asking ourselves at the end of the season of what do we need to do differently? What needs to change? And what's going to get us closer to the goal, which is, more thriving businesses led by women around the world, and all of us can drink coffee that's produced by farmers that are thriving, right? So that's, I think, what I'm generally excited about. But at the same time, I think there is like excitement around the Catalyst Lab for sure. I think that's something that it's relatively new. It's not completely new, but I think it's an untapped opportunity that we've identified, where we've met so many different actors across the coffee supply chain wanting to partner with us, and we are like all about partnership. We love collaboration, but we also are a very small team that we are not always available to collaborate on every project idea out there, and I think that's where we saw an opportunity to say, hey, can we openly just share what we've been doing, what's been difficult, what as little as like the games that we play with the farming communities that allow us to really like break the ice and get to know them, and all of those are what we are currently training other actors on. And I think although it's very new, I can already see that this definitely could have a lot more impact than I think we had anticipated. And being able to measure, I think MEL is something that we are always thinking about as well, because obviously we could do so many different things, but if you're not necessarily measuring what's going well in numbers, but also in like stories and whatnot, it's not something that we can communicate, nor can we be accountable for. So I think parallelly developing a robust MEL has been our priority, and that's also is something that's keeping me excited in this process, I'll say.
Yeah, definitely. I think so. A lot of this learning that we're doing, and we're doing it together as a team as well, I think is something that, gets all of us excited as well. And I think we use this kind of framework of the lean impact, right? Like it's not, of course, this is a final document, and we'll, again, share the document and the link as well. And we hope you'll read it. We hope you'll give us feedback. We hope you'll share ideas or partnerships as well. But also to know that it's not final, and I think we're going to keep that a living document that we can continue to go back to and continue updating as well. All right. Any final asks from our community, anyone who's watching us so far? What is one thing that they can do to help us kind of get this out there?
Yeah, I think, as you said, this is an evolving document. Obviously, our North Star wouldn't change. We will always work with smallholder women coffee farmers. We'll always thrive. We will always drive towards creating more thriving businesses. The how and when and all of that, I think it's something that we are always asking ourselves of, like, is that something still relevant? Like, our idea now, is it still going to be relevant in 15 years? And I think we keep ourselves, like, flexible that way, so that we can stay lean and really be impactful rather than fulfilling our own wishes for the sake of it, because we've set that promise. But yeah, that's something that wanted to also highlight, and hopefully you'll also understand that's the process that we have. But I think outside of it, I think we are looking for, our goal, as you know, is audacious, and we want more partners to join us on our journey. This, two founders, the two of us, means that we have to mobilize a lot more resources. We have to mobilize a lot more, leverage a lot more partnership opportunities. And it's something that we're very excited about, but I would honestly be also share that we're also very scared if we are the right people in it. I think there is always that imposter in you, right? Questioning, but we want to really stay true and continue to be transparent with our journey, as you all know, in our newsletter. And we want to also invite you to be part of it in whatever way you can, whether it is sharing this video with 5 people in your network, or our strategy document, and seeing if they are interested in following our journey along and eventually partnering with us at one point, or giving us an advice from your experience or insights. Any and all ways of the engagement actually fuel us to keep going. And just wanted to kind of invite that we are always an email away, a WhatsApp message away, and we'd love to continue this journey with you. And again, a lot of gratitude to all of you for being here, because we wouldn't be here today 10 years in without your support from day one. So thanks for being here, and we're excited, very, very excited to do this with you.
Thank you.
Bye.